G'day, guys. How are we going? Well, here we are on a Thursday night. It is Thursday, isn't it? Yeah, Thursday night. Having a chat with you guys. Now, thought we'd have a bit of a chat about this. The old Victorian High Country and surrounding areas have been, in the last 48 hours, have been absolutely smashed with some pretty severe weather conditions. So I thought we'd have a bit of a chat about this for tonight, with the up-and-coming long weekend that's coming up for people that are potentially thinking about going away. So we'll have a chat about this as we go through. Got a heap of stuff here that I want to get through and chat to you guys about, and be really interested to get some feedback from you guys as we go through with this discussion. Let's chat about a number of these points. G'day, Leanne, on there. Good evening. G'day. Good here. Everything's coming through all loud and clear. Mark, g'day, mate. And loud and clear. Good to hear about that. Right. It's the Victorian High Country. Well, it is pretty renowned for, for some pretty unpredictable weather patterns that do come throughout the whole year, really. But this time of year is sort of one of those years, is one of those times when, the weather can be very unpredictable. And the last 48 hours, Fernhingham, it has absolutely been smashed, the whole area, right through from, Tom Grogan right through to Mansfield and beyond. It's massive area that's been covered. So thought we'd have a bit of a chat about this tonight as we go forward. Now, some areas have had in excess of over 200 mil in the last 48 hours. Now, that's certainly a stack of rain, that's for sure. And some of the higher peaks have had in excess of 50-odd centimetres of snow. So we're talking to half a metre of snow have been falling in some of the higher peaks in the last sort of 48 hours as well. And this is far from over. Like, for the next 2-3 days, there's still a lot of rain still forecast, and some big snowfalls are also forecast. So this is going to take in the weekend as we go forward, for those people that are potentially going to think about getting away for the long weekend. But g'day, guys. Thanks very much for coming in tonight. Scotty, thanks, mate. And Camo and guys, Craig, Sean, thanks, guys. Thanks very much. NZ Adventures, thanks, guys, they're coming in tonight. Live in Dargo. PT Camping Adventures lives in Dargo. The old wooden bridge bypass at Dargo, been washed out. I did see a post about that earlier on today. Not great at all. So we'll get into this, but so with some of the dangers, with going away in potential, for this weekend, with the massive amount of rain that has fallen and still more that's going to come over the next few days, the ground is going to be extremely waterlogged, so very, very soft. And the big danger is trees coming down. But I have made a bit of a list here, so we'll just go through some of these that I've picked out. Some of this list here. Now, this is straight off the Australian Government Bureau of Meteorology, right? So this is the rainfall that's fallen in the area in the last 24 hours in these areas here. Now, these are areas that I've picked out that sort of most of us are going to know about. So we've got Mount Buller's had 47 mils, Mount Sunday 102, Dargo 63, Wannangatta River at Waterford Bridge. No, or around Waterford there, for you guys that know Waterford, that's had 77. Mount Useful 144. Bryagalong, which is a little town sort of just before Dargo as you're getting into Dargo, 92 mil there. The Avon River, which flows sort of around sort of Lacola area, out the back of Glenmaggie, that sort of area there, that's at 110. Mount Tambarootha up above Lacola, 119. Tambarootha, Maroka Road, up around the Maroka there in the Snowy Range, that's at 93 mil. Mount Wellington, again, that Lacola area up on the same area we're talking about, 191 mil. And Howard High Plains, again, up above, above Lacola there, 86 mil for that area there. Now, that's a stack of water that's been falling over those times. And, we need to sort of think about this with going forward if you're looking to go away for the weekend. So the big danger with that sort of rainfall that's been going on is trees coming down is certainly going to be a big problem. And look, they can come down at any time, and particularly more so now when, the ground's severely waterlogged, very, very soft, a lot of wind and that sort of stuff been going on, and trees can come down at any time. So this is where the big danger is. So if you're potentially, going away for the weekend or thinking about it, hopefully after this little video, you might think maybe twice, or, put a lot of caution into where you think about going and work on from there. With trees coming down, wherever you're going to go set and camp up, That's the big problem you've got there, with a tree potentially coming down in the middle of the night or whatever, while you got your camp set up. So there's a big issues there with trees coming down. So there's the big problem there. And the other one's going to be, potential early tracks and road closures with all this now. And these could be potential snap closures. So you're going to have to do a little bit of, maybe a bit of homework, bit of ringing around, get on Parks Victoria website and see if there's anything listed there as to, what tracks may have been closed early, just purely through this weather pattern that's been going on. So you have to certainly check that out and see what roads, maybe get onto Vic roads and see what roads may be closed from there through, washaways and that sort of thing. Look, I saw a video on couple of live crosses there from Walhalla today, and Fettingham, they have been absolutely smashed down there. The river going right through the middle of Walhalla's pretty much torn the road apart, and you're going to make it very hard for anyone to get down there for a while until they can get it all repaired. So need to have a look at that one. And if you are going to still venture out and try your luck, well, Fettingham, make sure you take a chainsaw or a couple of chainsaws and make sure you got plenty of sharp blades and plenty of fuel and that sort of thing, because fair chance you're going to be doing a lot of cutting, with clearing tracks and roads and whatever else you need to go. So make sure you got yourself a good chainsaw going on for this trip, that's for sure. Daniel, was like around 4 years ago. Yeah, look, it was probably a bit about 4 years ago. Yeah, after the 2006 sort of 7 fires, they had massive rains too, which hit this Locola area really, really badly. And it wasn't long after that when after the big fires there, when the big floods came through and washed out the bridge there at Tambaretha Road and a few others there. Now I've seen a photo. Actually, the thumbnail photo for this very video is a photo at the bridge that goes over Locola. For those of you guys that know Locola there, well, that is the bridge that goes over Locola now. And that's today. That's taken from the Locola Caravan Park. It was on their Facebook page. And that was today. And that river there, McAllister River, is only sort of about a metre or two underneath the bridge, when normally it's, sort of 4 or 5 metres under the bridge. So massive amount of water going down through there. I saw a couple of photos from Paradise Valley, another caravan park along the McAllister River, on the way to Locola. Well, that's got a temporary closure on it as well. And, the McAllister River there has broken its banks and it's gone all through the camp area. And, so they're unfortunately going to be closed up for a little while until further notice. So there's some other things there to take into account. And with rivers bursting their banks, there's just a couple that I've just sort of mentioned, with rivers busting their banks and that sort of thing. But the big thing you got to also think about here too, it doesn't necessarily have to rain a great deal to an area where maybe you're thinking about going for rivers still to rise. Now, if you look at that list that I've just read out, the amount of, the rivers that run into these areas and they go off to all parts of the Victorian High Country, all that water is going to carry somewhere. And rivers are still going to rise, even though the rain sort of stopped a little bit this afternoon, but these rivers are still going to rise, for the next few days and probably beyond. So they're not going to stop rising just because the rain has stopped. So you need to sort of think about that one as well. And with even considering to drive across any rivers at the moment, you got rocks in your head if you even want to consider driving across any of the high country rivers at the moment. They're all going to be extremely dirty, chocolate brown. You've got no idea what depth they're at. You don't know whether there's a log or something underneath them as you try and get across. So to even contemplate the thought of crossing the high country river at the moment is pretty much got danger written all over it. So I strongly advise about not taking on any rivers for the good next few days, even into next week, because this is going to take a while for this for these water levels to drop down. And while we're just on this discussion, and I've had a couple of these sort of personal messages come through on different sort of social media platforms that I'm on. And one guy asked me only yesterday, he's thinking about wants to go to Dargo for the long weekend, which is pretty much going to be no-go zone, but he wants to go to Dargo for a long weekend and was wanting some advice on what to think about the Crooked River track. You want to drive Crooked River track, and again, that's going to be completely out of bounds. No-go zone to be driving, those 24 crossings out of Talbotville there and beyond, and driving Crooked River at this time with all the amount of rain that's been falling. So there's certainly a no-go zone there. And the other thing too is which I've just mentioned about the Crooked River track, and even with when you're going, the rivers can still rise. You know, as I sort of mentioned there before, you know that it doesn't have to necessarily rain. You know, where you guys are for any of these rivers to rise. But just get some feedback. Is there anyone considering going away for this week? And I'd love to hear from anyone who's maybe thinking about it and where you sort of think it going. Rob Scott, first time doing this. Thanks for the channel, mate. No worries. Thanks for dropping in tonight. I think it's pub weather. Yeah, that'd be a good one, Matthew there for sure. Big open fire, yeah, for Mark. I reckon that'd be top way. Aussie, yeah, no way, stay home for this weekend. It's good that you guys are starting to are saying this and then thinking this way about it, because you know we all want to get away after everything's going on. Last thing you want to do is you know not be able to get away when you get an opportunity to go, but you really got to put safety before anything that's going on at the moment. And yeah, extremely dangerous conditions to be getting out there at the moment. And yeah, and some of those tracks you're just gonna have to check if any of them are open or what is open, but. You know, and the other danger too, as I mentioned earlier on about trees coming down, it's not just so much with, you know, the ground being soggy and trees coming down that way. It's this amount of snow that's falling, and there's a stack of it on the ground, and there's stack more still to come. And that's the other problem where, you know, the weight that gets up in the tree canopies. Yeah, with trees coming down, trees is a massive problem. So, you know, need to check into that one. And certainly, you know, if you've got any accommodation that's maybe booked for this weekend, you might want to check to see what the go is with that, and see whether they're open for the long weekend or whether they've had some forced closures through to because of the weather forecast that's going on at the moment and what's happening. There's a couple that I've mentioned with Lacola Caravan Park and Paradise Valley. Unfortunately, they're definitely shut until further notice, until you know things can subside and they can make it safe for public to come back into those areas. Now, the other one too, which I'm going to talk about this a bit more detail on Sunday night's live, is the Vic Emergency app. Now, I've got that on my phone. And that's been fitting, and that has just been going off its nuts for the last sort of 48 hours, just ding, ding, ding about floods going everywhere from Tom Grogan to all the way through to Mansfield and beyond, you know, it's just absolutely dinging everywhere and all the time. And so there's massive amount of flooding going on with the river systems. And this is a big problem with the long weekend coming up. Biggles, you can't go any more than 25 k's. You must be down in Melbourne there. That's where you are down there. I was heading up to Buckland, but a bit unsure now. Yeah, Buckland's one of those areas, mate. Yeah, there was a stack of snow up there on probably Mount Sarah and that sort of thing. And yeah, all that side has been hit really hard with flood waters and that kind of stuff too. But you know, if you're able to make a trip somewhere out without having to do any river crossings, well, half your luck. But the other big problem is you really got to think about trees coming down, because it's going to be pretty scary times out there with trees coming down. So there's a big one there to certainly think about. Back at Dago Pub, river has broken its banks. Water's going to take a while to subside. Yeah. Well, there you go. Dago River's broken its banks out at the back of the pub, which, yeah, that would be expected after what I read out there with the Wonnangatta River there at Waterford Bridge. Yeah, with 77 mils there today. So stack of rain's been falling in that area there as well. Ross, definitely going away. No staying at home, mate. Can't afford to pay for the fines and going out of the zone. Right. Well, hopefully wherever you're going to go, mate, please be safe and try and have a good one, because I don't think the weather's going to be all that flash anyway for the long weekend. This rain and snowfall is far from done and dusted, but yeah, not great times to be going away at all. G'day, DJs. How you going there, mate? Thanks very much there coming in here tonight. Aussie Tour, Big Desert next weekend. Might be not too bad if you're heading that way, I suppose, but not many river crossings to be doing in Big Desert. But as far as high country goes, this is where, yeah, it's certainly a bit of an issue, that's for sure. Are you okay at home? Yeah, Toyota? Yeah, mate. I'm high and dry here. I'm just down the road here. Terrelgan's only sort of 25 minutes down the road, and Terrelgan's been absolutely smashed. It's underwater. I don't know last time. I couldn't even tell you the last time when I heard when Tarragona went underwater, but geez, there's a fair bit of underwater going on down there at the moment. A lot of houses gone under and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, mate, but I'm okay here. I'm on a bit of a hilly spot where I am, so not too bad. Wonder if trees falling will be an issue for a few weeks. Yeah, they will, mate. And not only that, but it's not only the trees, but the rivers are going to be an issue too for not just past this weekend. They'll be an issue for for at least a week or so afterwards. But depending how much follow-up rain even we get into next week and that sort of thing. So yeah, the rivers aren't going to drop off just because it stopped raining. They'll keep rising because you've got all that runoff that's come out of the mountains down to these river systems. And, they'll keep rising for a good few days yet, even if the rain does stop. Brian, the sooner COVID eases, the sooner we can all get up in the high country. Yeah, absolutely, mate, and go and support some of these places because, yeah, if it's not bushfires, it's COVID, and now it's floods shutting these little towns down, so not good at all. In the Port of Geelong, Jimbo, how you going there, mate? Greg, have you heard anything about Foster? No, I don't know anything about Foster, mate. Not sure what's going on with that one. Cruising, Borgie, how you going there, mate? Sorry I'm late. That's all right. Hopefully didn't miss out on much. Well, you might have to go back a bit later on, mate, and maybe check out what we've been gas bagging about. But no, look, this has been a pretty good little topic to chat about, especially the reason why I brought this on is because it is a long weekend for most of us, and a lot of people potentially thinking about getting away. I tell you, pretty scary times to be going up there at the moment. And look, even with the weather that is still forecast and what's still yet to come, like Mount Hotham and that sort of thing, they're forecasting snows for the next 2 3 days, up around sort of 1,1400 odd, fairly high, but yeah, that'll bring some snowfall down into a lot of areas with those sort of numbers. And yeah, in the last couple of days, it was forecast down under 900. So there's a stack falling, and yes, over sort of 50 centimetres and beyond in a lot of the areas that have been hit by snowfall. So just going to be very, very careful, guys, and look, treat the mighty high country. Look, high country is fitting. I mean, it is a beautiful place, but it is one of those areas, one of those regions where you need to treat it with the utmost of respect and never, ever take that place for granted, because the day you drop your guard on the joint, that's the time when feeding them, it's going to bite you, and it could be potentially fatally bite you, and that's the last thing you ever want. So, yeah, always be very, very careful. And it's a shame too, because, this time of year, when the snow's fall and that sort of stuff, we all get excited. We all want to get out there and muck around and drive and camp and whatever else in that fluffy white stuff. But geez, yeah, that fluffy white stuff can become very, very fatal very, very quickly. And between that and all the rainfall and everything else going on. So just got to be very, very careful if you're going to head out over these next few days. Thinking about dropping into below Lake William Hovell. Yeah, over that Mansfield side might be all right. You're going to have to maybe do some checks, go towards Tomahawk Hut and head towards Pineapple Flat. Good luck getting across the King River at Pineapple Flat, mate. You're going to have to really check that one out, because you're going to have to get across the King and King Hut. If you're going to go from Pineapple through to King Hut, you got 6 crossings of the King River to try and get through there. Not ideal, but yeah, going to be very, very careful. After that, can head towards Craig's. Well, just while we're talking about Craig's, I'll just quickly talk about an early track closure, which not many people might not know about. So from Mansfield, again, this is part of this closure is because of the weather that's come on. And normally from Mansfield going to Craig's Hut, you would just head, the quickest way is just straight up Mount Buller Road, Mount Sterling Road, and then up Telephone Box Junction, and then either go left or right from Telephone Box Junction. Well, now you can't. So that way's been shut off, and it gets closed off every year. So from Thursday, which is today, 5 p.m. today, from Telephone Box Junction, both ways are now shut. And this is a closure that happens by Mount Buller Resort Management. So from Telephone Box Junction, where you got the Y junction there, if you go left, it is now closed between there and just before number 3. So the track that comes out, number 3 track, there's a gate just before the track. So that's now closed, that section off. And then when you go right from Telephone Box Junction round to Hackle Gap Huts, that's also closed. And the reason why they shut that off, and they shut it off a couple of days every year before Queen's birthday weekend, is so that they can start getting ready for, that's where all the cross-country skiers and that sort of thing, they go along there. And there's a fair chance it'd be probably snowed down that low at the moment. So that's why they do close it off. So you can't get to Craig's that way. And then the other way was to go to Craig's was come out of Mansfield, Mount Buller Road, and up Carter's Road, and then number 3 back on a Circuit Road just before that gate, and then along Circuit Road to Craig's. Well, number 3 is closed as of now. This was posted up by Parks Victoria or DOP website. Post I saw on social media through the week. Number 3 track has been closed. A section of that has been closed through track maintenance and that sort of thing. So you cannot get to Craig's going that way either. So your only way from Craig's, if you want to go from Mansfield, and it's a damn long way around, is out through, again, Buller Road, down through Sheepyard Flat, and then take the Bluff Link Road all the way out there and either down 16 Mile. If it's dry, I wouldn't be doing 16 Mile at the moment because it'd be terribly scary going down 16 Mile Jeep track at the minute with the weather conditions, or continue on, down Bluff Link, across the river there at the bottom there, and then up Bindaree, past Bindaree Falls, and then Monument Track that way into Craig. So that is your one and only way from Mansfield, or the quickest way to get Mansfield to Craig's Hut from Mansfield is that way. So have a think about that one too. If you're thinking about going to Craig's for the weekend, that is your only way around because everything else is closed off. And think about that if you're coming the other way and you want to go to Craig's first and then maybe get to Mansfield, well, that's your only way you're going to get back into Mansfield is that other way around that I just said, down through Bindaree Road and that sort of stuff. So think about that one too. Think of the others such as emergency service. Yeah, look, they are doing an amazing job. Like some of the footage I've seen on the news tonight, trees down and house flooded. And they do feeding an amazing job, all the SES guys and everyone out there, clearing trees and getting people rescued out of houses and, smashed houses. It's an amazing job that these volunteers do. So, yeah, absolutely well worth giving those guys an absolute plug in there. And, they do it. Certainly do a top job. Eldorado Pub would be a great place. Yes, highly recommend it. Yeah, Eldorado Pub would be a good place over the next couple of days. Park up there in the smallest pub in Victoria. So if you're ever up that way, go and check out the tiniest pub in Victoria at Eldorado. It is an absolute beauty. The meals there are great and the beer's always cold. Cracking joint to go and check out for a few days up around that area there. G'day, Wayne. G'day, thanks very much, mate. Bruce and all those guys. I'm going good. Thanks, Jim. I'm going good, mate. No worries at all there. Land Cruiser, yeah, 16 Mile looks full on even in the dry. In the dry, 16 Mile Jeep track is not a bad track. Look, it's got some steep sections in it, but where 16 Mile Jeep track gets pretty dangerous, particularly like now with all the conditions with all the rain that's been falling over the high country. It's a steep, hard packed clay-based track and there's no ruts in it. So if you're going down or up and you start sliding, well, you're just going to go for a ride and who knows where you're going to end up. So keep that one certainly in mind. If you're in that area and it's been raining, 16 Mile Jeep track is probably one to avoid if it's wet. It's a nasty track, but other than that, in the dry, she's a good track to drive. No worries at all. Get up there and do 16 Mile. Where are we going there? Shane. Yes, I'm coming to Jim. He's coming well. 16 Mile would not be a good one. No, that's for sure. It wouldn't. Good evening, Jim. How you going there, mate? Was wondering if you could do a short video about tyre pressures and on and off road. Well, actually, I've already got one on my channel there, mate, which if you want to check that out, Jim, where I've talked about tyre pressures. I did that one a little while ago. So, yeah, sort of explain about tyre pressures. And if you don't get enough information out of it, mate, let me know and maybe I'll get another one done. And look at one. But check that one out, Jim. That's a good one. Brian, the emergency services people should be named as Aussies in the year of the Aussies a year. Well, they should, mate, particularly what they've been doing, even more so over the last couple of years with everything going on. Amazing. These volunteers and the services they do to help us out in dire situations like we are at the moment. Amazing work they do. The dredges are well worth having a look out there. I've got a video there where I did at Eldorado and I covered a little bit of history about the dredge and smallest pub and did a few tracks out there. But yeah, that Eldorado area is a great area to go and check out, that's for sure. Leanne, have a safe weekend and no worries. Thanks very much and thanks for dropping in tonight and you have a good night with what you've got to go and do. Jim, nice out there, out here. Plenty of safe places to go full driving and camp and visit. That's all good. Jimmo, thanks, mate. No worries. Shane, thanks very much, and love what's going on there, mate. Greatly appreciate it, and greatly appreciate all the feedback there. Well, I think that's sort of covered it. But you know, if you are going to get away this weekend, fair dinkum, please take care. It's going to be pretty hairy sort of a time to be out there, especially with what's happening in the last sort of 48 hours. Like the rain we've had around here it's been unreal. Like I've been out in my shed for the last 2 days, just with the fire going in the shed and the rain coming down on the tin roof. You could hardly hear yourself think half the time. It was beating them that loud and that heavy and constant, like not just for 5 minutes, it went for hours, just flat out. So yeah, and that sort of gives you a bit of an idea as to why sort of that Tarragona area and other surrounding areas down this way in East Gippy here, West Gippy is gone under. So yeah, need to be very, very careful, guys, if you're going to try and get away at all. Mark, we stopped in El Dorado after it eased, the restrictions eased. Yeah, went to the pub and COVID. Yeah, look, it's a great joint. El Dorado, highly rated if you've not been over that way at all. Land Cruiser, why did I take the spotties off? That's a good question, mate. I didn't take, it's nothing to do with weight factor. I took them off because of the airflow that those big spotties blocked going through to radiator. Not that I sort of ever had a heating issue either, but I just, took them off to get a lot better airflow going through the front. But I'm going to get round to putting that big light bar back on again. And that light bar is absolutely fantastic light bar. So that's what I'll end up doing. I'll leave the spotties off the front bar and just get the light bar back on the roof. That is gold setup for me. Works an absolute treat. So that's why I've done that. Greg, g'day, mate. How you going there? He's going all good there. Louis, we did 60 mile direct tracks a few weeks back. Finally got down the high country for a 2-week adventure and had to leave early due to lockdown. Can't wait to get back there. Yeah, well, lucky you were able to get a few tracks done there, mate, in 16 mile. It is a great track, mate. It is really, really good. It is a good drive. Goes for a fair while, and it's good steep track. God, whether you're going up or down, but yeah, highly recommend. Steer clear of it if it's wet. It's not ideal at all. Stay safe down there, mate. Yeah, look, doing that, no worries. Work, Sam. Don't get stuck in emergency services. They have plenty of ease to do at the moment. Yeah, they've got plenty going on. Mark was out last week at El Dorado. Great place. Stay safe up your way. Yeah, look, El Dorado's a cracking joint, mate. It's a really good place. G'day, Bruce. Watching the blogs. No worries. Thanks very much. Greatly appreciate the feedback there. Righto. Well, I think we might wrap up this little bit of a live chat that I've just thrown in as a quick one tonight because of everything going on. Long weekend. People thinking about going away. Hopefully you might maybe think a little bit more about where you're going to go and if you're going to go. Just be feeling extremely careful because, it's going to be very, very dangerous conditions out there because this weather front that's hitting down here in the Victorian High Country and surrounding areas is far from done and dusted. So just be very careful, guys. And until then, you guys have a great long weekend for those that are going to get away or can get away. And we'll see you Sunday night. Because Sunday night, we're going to have a chat about the apps that I use and where I find out all my weather forecasts and this sort of stuff. And, it'll be a good one. So stay safe, guys, and we'll see you all on Sunday night. Thanks very much for the feedback. Greatly appreciate it. Wicked stuff. Hooroo. See you guys. See you, Rozzy. See you, Jim. Hey, guys. Hooroo.